better. That is better. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Elder C. How are you?
I am outstanding. How are you?
All is well.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
It is well. It is well. It is well. You have it, Michelle.
Alrighty, I did.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, Michelle, did you see yourself? You have it?
I do, I have it.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is one of the most important sessions that we're going to have. This was one I was just itching to do. You know how you just want to do something, you know you can't, like this was one of those. Okay, things that people do to say I love you. Welcome to Lace. Welcome to Lace. Those of you that are on already, welcome. We're going to get started because it is time to start, and the rest of them will catch up as we get started. Okay, Shantis, can you read that, please?
Yes. Have you ever done special things to say I love you to people that you love? Things like cooking a special meal. Maybe you took them on a special trip, or took them to a movie, or washed their car. Anything that you do will fade away.
Okay, this is not the one. That's next week.
Uh-oh.
Today is things that you say. Okay, this is the one. Go ahead, Sean. Things that you say. It was just above that one. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, we're
It's
almost
right
there.
after number 14.
15.
Yeah, it's number 15 slide. Not slide, but after, there you go, the next one. Okay, this is it.
Okay, things that people do to say I
Oh,
love
no,
you.
no. Uh-uh. Where's the one that says, okay. Things that people say, things that people give. This is one.
This is the one?
Things that people give.
Okay, so can we slide it over a little?
Can you move it over a little, Michelle? There.
Thank you. All right, things that people give to say I love you all fade away. Have you ever given a gift to someone that you love? If so, were you trying to say I love you and I want to give you something special? It could have been a birthday gift, an anniversary gift, a graduation gift, a wedding gift, a congratulations gift, an accomplishment gift, or a gift just because. All these gifts will eventually fade away, and quickly if it is flowers or plants. But the habits of love will last forever. People will talk about how patient you were to them. They will remember to other people the occasion when you were kind to them. They will tell others how you allowed them to have an opportunity that they could have kept for themselves. They will say that you embraced them when you were agitated and did not get angry with them, where they were yelling at you or doing something that they found out later that you did not do. They will say that you are a person that did not disrespect them in public or private, or use foul language or gestures.
Okay. So we're talking about what people give to say I love you. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's very important. I asked sometime before, okay, you can take it down, Michelle. I asked sometime before in the middle of these points. I asked, did if you ask 10 people, what love was, you would get 10 different answers. Does anyone have any idea why you think that would be true?
Maybe because everyone's definition or perception of love would be different.
Yes, and why do you think that would be true?
Based off of people's experiences of what was shown to them or given to them as an act of love or not given to them. Maybe someone demonstrated to them what that looks like, and they took that and displayed or manifested that to be love, believe that to be giving to show love.
Well, that's so true. Does anybody have an example of what someone has thought love was?
Can you repeat that, Elder C?
Does anybody have an example of what somebody may have thought love was?
An example of what we might have thought love was?
Yes. Anybody?
To some, maybe being physically or verbally abused.
Yeah. That may be one of them. That may be one of them. That may be one of them. So let me get started. I think I didn't send, I don't see folks on here, so I think they were waiting for me to send them an announcement. And I'm trying to just hold on a minute. I did not send that announcement out. And I will forward it to them now. I didn't send it this morning. But I will forward it to them now. And just in case somebody is wondering if we're still doing this on tonight. Okay. All right, so I sent that out to them. So let me just talk about this for a minute, because this is very important. This is one of the most important ones that we can do, because it's talking about what we see love as now. And you can only define love by God, because God is love. And what God says is, I will love you regardless of how you treat me. And that is what he wants us to do. He wants us to do the same thing, but he knows that we have sin nature. He knows that people have wills. And so he said, when we did the session last week, what he said was, I will save you. I will save you. So we went over sozo, and we talked about all of the areas where he said that I will save you. But what I want you to do, I want you to turn from what the world has taught you love is and turn to what I am. That's what I want you to do. I want you to turn from that. I want you to repent, which means to turn from that, to turn to this. And it is a hard turn. It's a hard turn. So we have to, we have to understand that it's not going to happen quickly, but we have to make up our mind that we're gonna do it, So the things that people give to say I love you, they just fade away. And the most important thing is that love is the greatest gift that you can give anybody. The problem is nobody really knows what love is because we don't get taught it in church. I've never, in all the years I've been in church, I've never seen anybody just systematically teach people what love is. They talk about what it is, but they assume that people know, you know. So we're talking about now, the perversion part of this is trying to buy love by giving gifts. Giving gifts is what we do. And we give gifts for reasons other than love. And so we're going to go over that. We're going to go over that tonight. And I wanted to talk about both of these, the one we started out with, and that's probably why I didn't pick up on it, the things people do to say I love you, but it's just not enough time because this one here, this one is the largest one that we use where we are misinformed and our family and friends are misinformed. And when we get to where we see how Jesus wants us to do this, then when we get to the end of this lesson tonight, we're going to find out something that's really it's going to change our life and change the way we're thinking when we get to the end of this lesson. So let's talk about what a gift is. A gift, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a thing given willingly to someone without payment. And a present that's given willingly to someone without payment. Well, love, you don't pay for it. You didn't pay for it. And when you give it to a person, they don't pay for it, even though they may think that they should be paid. But Jesus gave it and it's free. It is free. It is not tangible, nor is it touchable. So love is free. I mean, we are, people are giving, expecting a return, and then expecting that return, you know, causes them to get hurt or upset if they don't get a return, because they saw that as love. They saw that as love, and so they don't, you know, they don't understand that that's not love. It is not love, and that's why when people give gifts and when people do things and give gifts, it's not satisfying because it's not love. And gifts are not synonymous with love. They're just not synonymous with love. You know, many people give a person a gift and they'll say, "This means I love you. Didn't I give you a gift? Didn't I do this? Didn't I give you a gift?" And you don't have an answer because they did give you a gift, you know, but it does not mean that they love you. So what are we talking about gifts? People give good gifts. They have good reasons for giving gifts. People give bad gifts and they have bad reasons for giving gifts. So one of the things that really caused me to chuckle a lot is people that give you gifts they like. You know, we're going to talk about that. It caused me to chuckle a lot. But what happens to these gifts? What happens to the food? What happens to the flowers? What happens to the clothes? What happens to the things? They disappear. They disappear. Love never leaves. It works forever. It wins forever. So let's talk about the mentality. Let's talk about the mentality of how we see this. We're going to use a song by the Jackson 5 that I loved it when it came out. My children loved it. I bought it for them. And it's called Give Love on Christmas Day. We're going to talk about Christmas because that's one of the big gift giving days. And I bought it for my children and I still have it on a 45. I still have that on a 45. Give Love on Christmas Day. It's a wonder I still have it because they played it. They played it so much, you know, the track should have left it, but I have it on a 45. So Shantice, would you read the first verse?
Okay. So we just want to remind everyone before we read this that we do not own the rights to this music or the lyrics. We're just reading the song like someone would sing the song. All right. People making lists, buying special gifts, taking time to be kind to one and all. It's that time of year when good friends are near and you wish you could give more than just presents from a store. I feel like singing it.
Well, you can if you, I don't want to have people to shut me off for trying to sing it, but I know it. I heard it. I listened to it so much. You can sing it if you want the next verse, but it's indicating that all you can give is a present from a store. You want to do more, but that's all you can do, and that's not true. That's not the truth. That's not an understanding of you can do more. That's not all you can do is give a present from a store. That's not giving people love on Christmas Day. And so the next one is, you remember that? Anybody remember how that song goes? Besides Shantice and I. You remember, Michelle, how it goes? You don't remember? Maybe you want one of the ones. Okay, the next one, Sean, you can sing it if you want to.
I'm gonna try it, but I might end up speaking it. Okay. Oh, that's kind of high, and I didn't exercise my vocals, so I'm gonna try it. Why don't you give love on Christmas Day? Oh, even the man who has everything would be so happy if you would bring him love on Christmas Day. No greater gift is there than love. I don't know if that was
Okay. There is no greater gift, but bring what? They did not say what love was. They were mostly talking about the gifts and the presents. And so that's, what did you get from that? What did you get from your parents? What did you get from the people that raised you up? Nothing about what love really is. Okay, if it's too high, you can just read the next one, Sean.
Okay. Actually, the next verse is lower, but it says,
oh, well, you go ahead and sing it.
Okay. People you don't know, smile and nod hello. Everywhere there's an air of Christmas joy. Okay, I'm gonna say the rest. It's that once of year where the world's sincere and you'd like to find a way to show the things that words can't say.
Okay, so this is saying only once a year you can be sincere. Only once a year you can be sincere. I bought into that. People bought into that. Christmas, we're gonna really do people good. We're really gonna do well on Christmas Day. So only once a year. And just showing them, finding a way. That's the 14 habits. And we should not just be doing them on Christmas Day. We should be doing them every day. Okay, let me see. Now I can sing the other. Why don't you give love on Christmas Day? Oh, the man on the street or the couple upstairs all need to know there's someone who cares. Give love on Christmas Day. No greater gift is there than love. Now, see, I should let you do it, Sean. But anyway, the last, no greater gift is there than love. There is no greater gift, but there's no mention of this gift. There's no mention of this gift. They're talking about presents. They're talking about presents. And so the next one is saying, read the next two, Sean.
What the world needs is love. Yes, the world needs your love. Why don't you give love on Christmas Day? Every little child on Santa's knee has room for your love underneath his tree. Give love on Christmas Day. No greater gift is there than love.
Okay, we're still talking about the gifts. We're still talking about the presents. We're still talking about that. Okay, so finish the next two and then we'll move on to the rest of it.
What the world needs is love. Yes, the world needs your love. Give love. Oh, give love on Christmas Day. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every Susie too, needs love every bit as much as you.
Okay. So yes, the world does need these 14 habits. And yes, they need all 14 and they need them every day, but they don't know what they are. Okay, so you do the disclaimer again, Sean, and I will
Yes,
continue.
I would like to say again that we do not own the rights to this song. We are simply speaking the lyrics.
Okay, so when we're looking at this, we have been indoctrinated to think this way. People do not know what love really is. And we must recognize what it really is so that we can love ourselves correctly and love other people. How could we have loved ourselves correctly and we didn't really know what it was? And I tell you, I've been in church many, many years. And even all of those years I backslid and was out, nobody knew what love was. So when I went back to church and I saw that I was supposed to do it, I had to say, which I share with you guys, God, I don't know what that is. I've never seen it. I've never heard about it. I don't know what it looks like. I can't relate to it. And I know you said do it. I want to do it, but what is it? What is it? Because I knew it wasn't what I was doing. I knew that it wasn't that. And so now we're looking at the fact that love so often, when people don't know what it is, they just say, I love you. And this is a lot of ways that people do it. That many times people will give you a gift. It'll be at a party or something like that. Parties that requires gifts. I'm talking about parties that require gifts. Now I'm talking about physical gifts. I'm not talking about spiritual gifts. I'm talking about presents, physical gifts. So then when a person is saying, I love you, and I'm going to throw you a party because I love you. And then what happens? Everybody's going to bring gifts. And everybody's going to be happy and everybody's going to know that I really care, I really love you because I threw you this party. But parties are not synonymous with love either, just like gifts are not, just like presents are not. So there are other reasons people give gifts and parties, and we have those reasons, but we have translated those reasons into love. So let's go over, there's some good reasons and there's some negative bad reasons. So let's talk about some positive reasons. And we're going to start with Christmas because that was the song about Christmas. And it's one of the most popular ones. And I'm only going to cover 12 of these. We could go on forever with this, but Christmas is really one where everybody wants to give everybody a gift that understands. But the reason is tradition. The reason is not, I'm not giving you a gift because I love you. It's tradition. It's tradition to give you a gift on Christmas. That's what it is. And what's so funny, if your birthday was on Christmas, you didn't give her one gift. And you got one gift and everybody else got two. And the people who were born on Christmas, they just fuss. My sister used to do it all the time. But she used to fuss all the time because people would give her just one gift and she would always be given two gifts. Her birthday was on Christmas. And I would make sure I gave her two gifts. But I'm not, I wasn't the majority. I wasn't the one she was fussing about, but she was fussing. But somebody before she died in 1988, and somebody before she died did something, and she called me and told me about it. And I just chuckled, and she showed it to me too in the news. So somebody who was born on Christmas Day who was trying to get their family not to do it, their husband, their children, their sisters and brothers not to do it. And they wouldn't stop doing it. I mean, how you can see that's not love, right? That's tradition. So guess what this person did? This person did, when their birthday came around and she gave her husband some shoes, she gave him one shoe and said, you get the other one Christmas. She did that to the rest of them. All of them, she did that. Gave them half the gift and told them, you get the rest of it, Christmas. That wasn't sarcastic, but it just shows it's not love. The gift is not love. Well, when my sister told me that, I just thought that was so funny. And it, that she showed it to me. I just thought that was so funny because I love my sister, but I'm telling you, she was something. Anyway, she was born on Christmas. So Christmas is one of the popular ones. So the reason we give gifts is because tradition. Okay. How about holidays? We give gifts because of the same reason, tradition. How about birthdays? We give gifts to honor the person's birthday. After all, they deserve honoring, So how about getting married? We give gifts when people get married so that we can help them start their marriage together and help them build that financial situation that they need to have together. How about graduations? We give graduations gifts because we want people to have something useful to start out their new life with. A lot of times when children graduate from high school, they leave home and so they need some things. And so we give gifts for that reason. How about a busy week at work and I just want to cheer you up, so I'll bring you some cheesecake because I know you like it. Okay, and that was a busy week. It didn't mean I love you, but it was a good idea that I should cheer you up. How about just say I thank you? Well, that's just you do that out of appreciation. I appreciate you, so I'm just gonna let you know the reason I'm giving you this is because I appreciate you. How about showers, baby showers, wedding showers, all those kind of showers? We give gifts at those events so that people can start their life, have something to start off with the baby. How about a new job? We do that to celebrate with you. How about sickness? We do that to encourage you. We want to encourage you to, to get out of that bed. Let's get going. And then when our children go out to college, they get other gifts as well because they need things when they're away and it's very costly. We do that. How about to cheer people up? Well, just because I just want to cheer you up, I'll just give you a gift. A death in the family. Well, we want them to know that we sympathize with them. So we want to help them financially and we want to do that. So we give them a gift. How about just because it makes me feel good, I'm just going to give you a gift. Those are good reasons for giving gifts, but it's not love. How about the bad reasons? People give bad gifts because they want to manipulate you. They want to continue to abuse you. They don't want you to complain about something and they don't want you to tell somebody something that they did, so they give you a gift and try to quiet you down. They give gifts to control people so they can get some things they couldn't get without the gift. Because we talked about all of the issues that people had when we were going through these 14. We talked about all of the things that people went through and the brokenness that people could take advantage of. And this is one of the ways that people take advantage of people who are broken like this, by giving them gifts. And they're thinking it's love, and it's not. And how about bribes? People giving people bribes, How about taking advantage of people? You want to take advantage of people, we used to have, I used to have a situation that I was trying to help somebody with. Whenever they wanted to do something, they would organize, maybe going to the movies. They would organize a trip for everybody to go to the movies, but they never had to pay. So how you gonna organize a trip for everybody else to go, and they all paying for you? So just give gifts like that. Some people give gifts just to clear their conscience because they don't want to apologize. Some people give gifts to hide the deeds they do. Some people give gifts because they want to win your trust, because they need you to do something you wouldn't do, and so they want you to trust them, so they give you gifts. Some people give gifts to hide their motives, and some people actually give gifts to harm you. They'll give you food poisoning, they'll give you a bomb, they'll give you something with glass in it, like people used to do the children on Halloween. So you can't use that. Now, let me say that the bad ones the negative ones speak for themselves. I don't need to say anything else about that. But you can do all of these good things that was on that good list because you love people. Or you can do all of these things on that list and not love the person at all. Did you all understand that? You can do all of these things and not love the person at all. But if your motive is love, then you have done it because you love them, not because you're trying to get them to love you. So you don't expect a gift back. You don't even expect a thank you. And if you expect anybody to thank you for something you did, that wasn't love. They should thank you. I mean, but how many times a day do we thank Jesus for saving us? And on Christmas, everybody gets a gift but him. You know, some of the churches I know struggle during Christmas time because the parishioners take their tithes and offering and buy gifts for the family and friends. So the church can't pay its bills. So why? I know this is a fact because I was in the churches that was doing it. You know, I'm not saying something that I think. I'm saying something that I know that happens. Doesn't happen everywhere, but it does happen. You know, and so one of the things I had to do, and I still do it, on Christmas, Jesus gets a birthday cake, and he gets a candle, and we sing happy birthday, and we blow out the candles. Because I wanted my children to know, this is not about Santa Claus. This is not about your birthday or my birthday. It's about Jesus. It's his birthday that we're celebrating, and we're celebrating it because he saved us. But anyway, so much for that. So these gifts, more often than not, are used to convince people that they love them. But love happens on the inside. It doesn't happen on the outside. Getting and buying gifts is something that happens on the outside. This is working for love. This is working for love. Remember when we talked about these habits, love works for you. When you do it, it works for you. You don't work for it. It works for you. It's a sacrifice. So it's not tangible or touchable. As we have said, you can't buy it, you know. You can't give a person an expensive gift and then tell them this means I love you. Like people do it all the time, but it's wrong. It is wrong. So if you're doing any one of these 14 habits, when you're in relationship with a person, you have that working for you. Love is working for you. Any one of these. But if you're not doing any of these, you're in relationship with people, love is not working for you. You're working for it. That's how that. So you can't, you know, we have to really understand that we can't purchase love, and we have to let it work for us. And one of the reasons we have to have this session, one of the reasons it's so important, is that we have to stop treating people improperly because they don't understand love. We have to stop being angry. We have to stop throwing them under the bus. We have to stop saying negative things about them because they don't know what love is. And the reason this session had to be now is because I had to go through so that you could know what love is. So when I talk about this part of it, then you can recognize it, not only in yourself, but when other people are doing it. When other people are saying that they love people and it's nowhere near love, you will know it. When people give love, what they're giving us, two major things. One of them is grace. They're giving them unmerited favor. When you love a person, the second one is mercy. You're going to overlook that wrong thing that they did, just like Jesus did. You're giving them grace and mercy. That's what love is. It's not buying them a gift. It's not doing that. You know, remember I said love comes from the inside, but you can't give love by what you purchase on the outside. Now I'm going to have a little exercise here because I want you all to really get this. Because when you get it, you'll be able to deal with your own family. And remember I said, when I get to the end, I'm going to show you something that's going to shock you. I'm going to show you something that's going to shock you, but it'll bless your life forever. So let's do this exercise now. I want you all to be honest. I don't want you to call any names, but how many of you have received a gift from a loved one that you did not like? Raise your hand if you did. Okay. One person? Only one person, two people. Okay, well, I'm the third person. I'm the third person. So let's talk about that. Because I want to show you why that isn't love. I want to show you that. They bought you what they liked. That's the first problem. They bought you what they liked. Now, that meant that gift was for them. They didn't ask you what you liked, or didn't pay attention, or didn't notice, or they talked to someone that didn't know what they were talking about. And I had a funny story. One of the first gifts my husband bought me was a girdle. Can you imagine? A girdle. He won't even go in the women's department. Somebody told him to get that for me. Somebody told him. And you know, I only wore it, and I had to pick my own. I only wore it because in my family line we have a little pot tummy, and I was only like 105 pounds. And then I had this little pot tummy out there, and then my behind would shake, and I didn't want my behind to shake because my mama told me it shouldn't. So I would get the girdle, but I like to buy it myself. I mean, he brought me something I would never use, a girdle. I mean, where did you get that? You don't even go in the women's department. Who told you to get this for me? So we get gifts we don't even like. So what did you do with that gift you didn't like? Did you just keep it around like I did and pretend you like it, or just keep it around and make the person happy just because they gave it to you, and put it on the shelf somewhere, or either you put it out so they can see it every now and then, but you never touched it again because you didn't like it in the first place? Or they would assume you would like it, and they'll buy you something and they assume you would like it because they thought it was pretty, or because they thought it was very masculine, or because it seemed very useful to them, but they didn't ask you, or they ain't paying attention to you. You didn't like it. You didn't like that. So it did not give love, because it isn't love. It isn't love. Or they didn't have enough money and they wanted to get you something, so they just bought you something so they could say that you have something. That's one of the reasons they do it. And then somebody gave them a gift. Another one is somebody gave them a gift they didn't like. Gave you a gift, and so they turn around and give it to you. They turn right around and give it to you. They ain't like it themselves. They turn around and give it to you. Okay, so what do? You're not feeling love. You're not feeling it. The reason you're not feeling it, because it's not. That's the reason you're not feeling it. So the last one I'm going to cover right now is give love. You're going to an event that requires a gift. So I'm not going to be embarrassed by not taking one. I just take something, because a gift is expected. So I have heard people say, and this is how sad this is, they should be going to something very important to their family or to their friends or on their job, but they wouldn't go because they didn't have a gift. I've heard people say that. That's sad. That's bad. That you think that if you show up without a gift, that you will be ostracized, turned aside, and not loved and thrown under the bus. Wow. That's where we get this stuff from. We're getting it from the world. And Jesus is saying, no, 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 no. Turn from that, turn from that, turn from that. That's not love. That's not it. So people think this is love, but it's not. You give people gifts because you love them, not to get them to love you. One of the things I did, because I was just, when I got grown, I just said, I'm just gonna shower my children with everything. I'm gonna shower my friends with everything. I'm just gonna buy a lot of stuff just because I just couldn't do it for such a long time until I got grown enough to have the money to do it. But that did not mean that I loved them. It just meant that I just wanted the opportunity to be able to give like that. It doesn't mean, because it doesn't define love like that. So Jesus showed us how love worked. He loved us first, and then he gave, he did these 14 habits. And this is the gift of love. There's nothing greater than that. It's not things. It's not books. It's not clothes. It's not flowers. It's not candy. It's not tools to fix your car, tools to fix the house. It's not neckties. It's not furniture. It's not cars. It's not houses. It's not dishes. It's not lands. Love is connected to everything. And love must be the motivation whenever you give a gift. It must be the motivation. That was my motivation. Even though I didn't know what love was, I was motivated to give gifts because I loved, but I really didn't love because my love was based on what I learned as a child. And guess what? It wasn't love. Okay. So that's why I said, we want to, when we get this information, we want to just be nicer and kinder to people. You know, when we recognize that they are trying to do something and they don't even understand what love is. But Jesus gave us this example here. And so I'm going to go through these examples, and I'm going to go through the definition of what Jesus gave us. And we're going to deal with one verse out of this passage, and then we're going to deal with the passage, because I need to deal with this one verse because it has a word in it that we're going to talk about at the end that's really going to bless you. It's really going to bless you. Okay, let's read this, Shantice. Matthew 5, verse 44 in the King James Version.
Matthew 5:44, King James Version. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Okay, Jesus is explaining what love really is. And as we go through this passage that includes this verse, you'll see that. But these 4 things he said. First, love your enemies. That's habit 1 through 14. Second, bless them that curse you. I mean, that doesn't sound like love, does it? Then he said, do good to those that hate you. That doesn't sound like what we have heard love was. And then he said, pray for those who despitefully use and persecute you. Wow. None of that sounds like love that we learned. Sure doesn't. Not to me. It doesn't sound like it. So there's 4 of these areas. Let's cover them really quickly so we can get to the whole passage here, because we're going to go through the whole passage and I'll be able to show you this. Now, number 1 is love your enemies. Remember that word enemies, because that's the one we're going to deal with at the end. So there's 14 habits you're supposed to do for them. But then what if your enemy curses you after you love him on them like that? Because we talked about that last week, about how dealing with hate, and then still loving people in the midst of all the hating that they were doing. And just because you are a believer, just because you're saved, just because you believe Jesus and you carry his name. But he says, if they curse you, bless them. Well, what is that word? What is that word in the Greek? It is eulagoa, and it means to praise, to celebrate with praise, to invoke blessings, to consecrate a thing with solemn prayers, to ask God's blessings on a thing, to pray God to bless it in one's use, to produce and to concentrate blessings of God, to pronounce the concentrate blessings of God, to cause to prosper, to make happy, to bestow a blessing on, favored of God, and to bless. Okay, this is what we're supposed to do to a person that curses you. Whether they're using profanity curse words or whether they curse you with a demonic curse. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to bless them. Bless them. This is not what we were taught love was. Okay, so the next 2 words, those that hate you, do good. Now, do is 2 words here, so I have to define both words. Now, do has 2 meanings. One is to make and one is to do. And it's long because it's an action on your part. It's an action on your part. So I just want to cover that. Those that hate you, you're supposed to do good. Do good. Okay, so now the do is paeo. That word do. Now I'm going to do the to make part first. With the names of things made, to produce, to construct, form, to fashion, etc. With the names of things made to produce, construct, form, and fashion, to be the author of a cause, to make ready, to prepare, to produce, to bear, to shoot forth, to acquire, to provide a thing for oneself, to make a thing out of something, to make, to constitute, or appoint one or anything, or ordain one or anything, to make or declare one anything, to put one forth, to to lead him out, to make or do something, to cause one to be the author of a thing, to cause a thing to come about. Okay, now the to do part about that word is to act rightly, to do well, to carry out, to execute, to do a thing unto one, to celebrate, to keep, to make ready, at the same time, institute something like a celebration, like the celebration of a Passover, to perform or to a promise. Okay, so now that's the do part. Now good, that word is kalos, kalos. So if a person hates you, you are to take an action on their behalf, and this is the good part. Beautifully, finely, excellently, well, rightly, so that there shall be no room for blame. Well, truly, excellently, nobly, commendably, honorably, in honor, in a good place, be comfortable, to speak well of one, to do good, to be well of those receiving help. So even, even those that are sick, they mentioned those specifically, but you have to do good to people that hate you. So even if a sick person hates you, even if a sick person hates you, you have to still kalos them. You have to still do good for them. You have to poeo and kalos them. Now, how about the ones that despitefully use you? That's number 4. You have to pray for them. That word is payuskama, and it means to offer prayer, to pray to God, to supplicate, to worship, to pray honestly, and make prayers for that person. So remember, when you're doing these 14, God has your back. He has your back. And remember what he said last week, what we said, it's easy to love them that love you, but what if you don't know what love is? That's not easy, because you don't know what love is. If you don't know what love is, not only can you not love yourself, you can't even love those that love you correctly. So Jesus is saying that, we need to know what it is. So he's explaining how it operates here in Matthew. Now, remember, we're talking about the kingdom. We're in the kingdom, and he's explaining how we should operate in the kingdom. And he's explaining how love operates. So this passage, Matthew 5:35-48 in the Message Bible, is talking about how love operates in the kingdom where we live. So we're going to talk about how it operates first, and then we're going to talk about love in action. Okay, so let's start with this is Matthew 5, verses 38-48 in the Message Bible. Shantice, if you would read 38-42.
Yes. Matthew 5, verses 38-42, Message Bible. Here's another old saying that deserves a second look. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Is that going to get us anywhere? Here's what I propose. Don't hit back at all. If someone strikes you, stand there and take it. If someone drags you into court and sues for the shirt off your back, gift wrap your best coat and make a present of it. And if anyone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit for tat stuff. Live generously.
Okay, so let's go over this. First thing he says, don't hit back. He's not talking about physical hitting. He's talking about if someone insults you. If someone insults you to your face, stand there and take it. Stand there and take it. And if someone drags you into court, trying to get the shirt off your back, gift wrap your best coat and make it a present. Because that's the love part, that you shut that down. You shut that down. When you give them your best coat, they're trying to take something from you. And Jesus is saying, you give them a gift. You give them something really nice. Because what that's going to do is that's going to show me that you're looking like me. You're representing me, and I can get involved with what you're doing. But I can't get involved with it if you're going to do tit for tat. If somebody going to insult you and then you're going to say something back, something sarcastic back. If somebody takes you to court and you're going to fight like a tiger to make sure you do worse to them than they're doing to you. Jesus said, no, that's not what this looks like. This is not how you operate in love. And if someone takes unfair advantage of you, use this occasion to practice a servant life. You know, what is that? When someone serves, and it's not an unfair advantage, that's a gift of love. When you serve somebody and it's not an unfair advantage, that's a gift of love. So this is what love does. It is the greatest gift. It's a greater gift. So you have to give a greater gift. And we're seeing now, this is how love operates. This is how it operates in the kingdom. We were not taught this. We didn't understand that this is how it operates. We were taught the world system of how they do it by whoever found out from the person before them that didn't know what it was themselves. And that's what we know. And so since we have learned all these 14, now I'm pointing out to you what we know and why we know it and the reasons we need to turn from it. And it's going to be a hard turn. Even when you're helping people, some of them you're going to have to hold by the hand, because it's a hard turn to turn away and just stand there and let somebody insult you. I don't know anybody that wants to do that. I don't know anybody that wants to do it. They'll walk away, they'll slam the door, they'll go get in their car and drive off. Nobody wants to do it. But Jesus did. He got insulted all of his adult life. He got insulted, never said a word back to anybody. Not a word. Okay, let's go back to 43 through 47. Can you read that, Sean?
Yes, verses 43 through 47, Message Bible. You're familiar with the old written law, love your friend and its unwritten companion. Hate your enemy. I'm challenging that. I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the supple moves of prayer. For then you are working out of your true selves, your God-created selves. This is what God does. He gives his best, the sun to warm and the rain to nourish, to everyone regardless, the good and bad, the nice and nasty. If all you do is love the lovable, do you expect a bonus? Anybody can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect a medal? Any run-of-the-mill sinner does that.
Okay. So Matthew here is he's assuming that you know what love is. So we've already gone over that, so you know. So it says here, love your enemies. Let them bring out the best of you. Let them bring out the best of you. Don't raise your hand, but I can raise mine and say, my enemies never brought out the best in me. They brought out the worst. So is any best in there, they never saw it. Okay, they never saw it until I learned better. Until I learned better, you know. Respond with a subtle move of prayer. Did I do that? No, but that's what Jesus is saying. This is Jesus talking here. This is Jesus in Matthew. He did 5 sermons in Matthew. He did 5 teachings. This is one of his teachings. He's teaching us how love operates in the kingdom. And this is it. It's not what we have learned. It's not what we have learned. And it says this is what God does. He gives his best to everybody. He warms everybody and he nourishes everybody, regardless if they're good or bad, or if they're nice or nasty. He still, no matter how they treat him, he still loves them. God wants us to be like him. So because love is only found in him, there's no other way to find it. And so when we're looking at how love operates, he's just given us some wonderful clues here that nobody bothered to teach us. And so we're learning that now. Okay, how about 48, verse 48, Sean?
Okay, verse 48, Message Bible. In a word, what I'm saying is, grow up. Your kingdom subjects. Now, live like it. Live out your God-created identity. Love generously and graciously toward others, the way God lives towards you.
Okay, so one of the things that we have to do to love like this, these 14 habits, is to grow up. I started telling you that at the beginning. You know, I told you that at the beginning. We live in the kingdom. You must allow God and Holy Spirit to help us grow up by studying the Word of God. And as we study it and we come out of the darkness into the light, there's a growth area there, and we have grown in that area, and we don't have to deal with that anymore. We can't do that as babies. We can't do that as little children. Babies are selfish, but love is unselfish. So we can't do, you know, and I told you, it's just going to take some time. It took me years. It took me years. It took me years because I didn't have anybody to teach me like I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing with you. I had left a message, Michelle. I don't know if you got it. If you had a picture of Winning Battles with Love, to put that in the chat, because you can get that from and if you don't, we'll do it next week. Those 2 books, you can get that from Amazon. And some of you may already have it. I'm not covering that right now, but in that book, yes, that's it. In that book, I talk about winning every battle. And you can win every battle with love because love never fails. And I talk about how to do it. This I'm giving you right now is a tremendous amount of detail about what love is. It's not in the book, but the book is mentioned in there, but it's not this kind of detail. But the book does tell you how to win battles with love. And I also have a book on the kingdom, you know, living the kingdom, the king's way. So that really is how love operates. Now let's jump over here and see what love in action is. And that's in Romans chapter 12, verse 9 through 21 in the NIV Bible. So we saw how we saw what love was not. We know that it's not what we have learned all these years. And we know that now that we know what it is, we knew that we weren't doing that. And so let's get some examples of that. And then we're going to get into that, Shanti. Let me give some examples first of loving. I'm going to give some examples of what we have done and what we are doing, that so that you can know from some life examples what I'm talking about. Because most of the time when we get taught like this, we don't get any life examples. And so we can't see ourselves or our families or our friends actually doing or not doing something because we don't have examples. So I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm just going to give you 12, just like I did the others, just 12. 12 is the number of government. There's many more of all of this stuff that I have here, but we're just going to do 12. So number 1 is bad customer service. Bad customer service. What do we do when we get bad customer service? Well, let me just suggest, when we get bad customer service, we're through with that company. We're just through with them. We're done with them. and we got that customer service from somebody that didn't own the business, that person sabotaged somebody's business and we let them. We let them. What were we supposed to do when we got bad customer service? We were supposed to love them. And we didn't. And we don't. That's a world's way to do it. You don't quit a company because of bad customer service. You quit because you don't need their product, or the product isn't any good, or you can't get what you paid for. But bad customer service, that's somebody's attitude and behavior. They have destroyed somebody's business, and you and I let them. That's what Jesus is talking about. That's exactly what he's talking about. You're talking to somebody overseas. All they have is a script. They can't say nothing but what's on the script. Then you get mad. I'm not going to buy from them anymore. They don't even hire anybody that can speak English. Oh, I know I got you, because I can raise my hand first. I know that I have. We just have to get what Jesus said here. And once we know what he said, we have to live our life that way, because we are living epistles. People are supposed to see Jesus through us, not the devil. He's supposed to see Jesus. She's supposed to see Jesus, not our flesh. That's what he expects. And this is what he taught. Okay, what's the next one? The next one's just tips at restaurants. This is this one right here. Get you. I like this one. If you don't treat me good, I'm not going to tip you. Well, what's wrong with that? Everybody on here has been on a job, and you can't tell me that your attitude was excellent every day. And if your attitude was not excellent every day, you're wrong to not give somebody a tip because of bad attitude. You're just wrong. That right there is requiring somebody to do something you don't even do yourself. Who did that? I did. I know what I'm talking about because I did it. I don't do it anymore because I think the system is wrong. You can't get enough money to take care of yourself unless somebody tip you. When you're working for an hourly job somewhere else where you work or where I work, you don't have to worry about tips. If tips is part of your salary, do your part and make sure that you give, because God will give it back to you. It's benevolence. It's benevolence. They need it, regardless of their attitude. They're working to make money, regardless of their attitude. How about retail? Well, you're in the retail store and you can't get the service you need to see. Everybody waiting on everybody else but you. And here you are acting up in the store. Here you are not saying anything, but you got a bad attitude. Finally, you give up and walk away. And no kindness. No kindness. Somebody walks up and you're too late. I'm on my way out the door. Kindness is one of the habits. How about somebody trying to do medical issues? I see it all the time in drugstores. People get mad. What do you mean you don't have my insurance? How many times have I given you my insurance? I'm going to find another store that can keep up with my insurance. Whatever. Patience. Don't have any patience, but we want patience. How about irresponsible people? Don't want to be around irresponsible people. They're always causing problems. I'm not going to use my patience. I'm just going to leave you alone. How about arrogant people? I am just going to act just as disrespectful to you as you are to me. That's not love. How about people taking advantage of you? When people take advantage of you, you're not supposed to be angry. Usually that's what happens. We get angry. How about people that sabotage you? People that stab you in the back. Let me do that one first. People that stab you in the back, and then they come up wanting a favor. What are you supposed to do? What happened was that? What happened was that? They want to do you a favor. They want a favor from you after they stabbed you in the back last year. You kept an account of that wrong. You can't keep an account. You have to do the favor. You can't keep an account of that wrong. How about when people throw you under the bus and they sabotage you and try to make sure you don't get what's coming to you? And how about the people that you've just been patient with them, but you're at the end of your rope. This is the end of your rope. I've been giving you some rope and now you're at the end of it. That's when you bear all things. That's when you bear all things. Hey, this is fun, isn't it? It's where we live. We're living in the wrong place. We're living with the wrong group, and we're living with the wrong spirit. Okay, so those are some examples. I wanted to give you some life examples, so you know I'm not just talking. This is the word of God. We do this. I see it all the time, and I know you see it. I know you see it. You know, and so we have to know how to handle people. We have to know how to do things. We have to understand that what we're doing is hurting ourselves, because when we love the way we're supposed to, it works for us. Oh, it's working, and we don't even feel it. We don't see it, but it's working. It's working for us. So how about let's check out some love in action here. Love in action. Romans 12, 9 through 21 NIV. Let's do this one verse at a time. Verse 9, Sean.
Romans 12, verse 9, NIV. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another.
Oh, no, just verse 9.
I'm sorry, got excited.
Okay, so love must be sincere. Hate what's evil. Why is Jesus saying this? Read Psalms 47:5 in the Amplified. Sean, do you have that one?
Yes. Psalms 47:5 Amplified. God has ascended amid shouting, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet.
That's 47:5.
That's what it said. Let me confirm. Give me 1 second.
I must have the wrong one.
That's okay. Okay. Psalm 47:5. God, yeah, it's the same thing. God ascends
Okay.
among. Okay.
All right, so try oh boy, I picked the wrong one. That try Psalms Isaiah 61. It was 45:7. Did I say 45:7?
You said 40, it was 47:5. So it's 45:7, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. 45:7. And you said amplified?
Yes.
Okay. You have loved righteousness, which is virtue, morality, and justice, and hated wickedness.
Okay.
Therefore, God, your God, has anointed you above your companions with the oil of jubilation.
Okay. So that's the oil of joy, the oil of gladness. That's what that is. So Isaiah 61:3 says, to grant those who mourn in Zion, to give them a beautiful headdress instead of ashes, oil of gladness instead of mourning, garments of praise instead of faint spirits, that they may be called oaks of righteousness and planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. So he's talking about giving us oil of gladness, oil of joy. It's also in Hebrews in the New Testament, but he's telling us this you know, if you hate evil and you love righteousness, there's a benefit over and above the benefit of love. I'm going to give you the oil of joy. You know what that means is when you get pressure, and when the devil is pressuring you with with torment and things like that. If you hate evil, and I encourage you to try it. Just say, I hated it. I hate this. Even if you're doing it yourself, say, I hate this. I hate sin. I hate evil. I love righteousness. And a calmness will come over you. And so there's a benefit. Okay, verse 10. Just verse 10.
Verse 10, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves.
Okay, so this is love in action. Have you ever heard somebody say, well, you know, I don't even do that for myself, so you know I'm not going to do it for you? Anybody ever heard anybody say that? I have. But they'll turn around and give you a birthday present, and they'll give you a Christmas present, but they won't love you. Right here. They won't honor you above themselves. So that's one other reason, you know, presents don't work unless the motive for giving them in the first place is love. Okay, verse 11.
Verse 11, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord.
Okay, so this is where you have to remember that you were commanded by God to love. It wasn't your idea. It wasn't my idea. It's God's command to do. And so that's why we have to be zealous about it. And we have to, you know, just serve the Lord. When when you're doing stuff at jobs, when you're doing stuff at homes, when you're doing stuff, benevolence out in the community, do it as unto the Lord. Be happy. I'm doing this for God. Yay! You know, I'm doing this for God. Person showed up late. You are out there trying to help distribute food, and the people are acting up. You're doing it for God. Cheerful, happy. I'm doing this for God. And don't you think God see that? Don't you think he see that you are happy because you're doing this for him? And this is what this is talking about. He's the one that commanded us to love. We didn't come up with the idea ourselves. If we did, we would be doing all the other stuff we've been talking about all night for the last hour. That stuff didn't come from God. That's our stuff. That's stuff we brought from our sin nature. That's stuff the enemy taught us through other people. But this is what he said. Okay, verse 12.
Verse 12, be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer.
Okay, so we had that last session when we did habit 14, hope beyond hope. When you see people going through stuff, hope beyond hope. You don't even have to tell them. Just start praying and pray for stuff that looks impossible. Like Abraham believed God. Just hope beyond hope in prayer for people. Okay, 13.
13, share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality.
Okay, so that's benevolence, you know. So we're supposed to share with people that are in need, like they did in Acts when they were talking about when you know they all brought their money to the apostles so that people in need would have. And so that's what we're supposed to do. This is love in action. Verse 14.
Verse 14,
14.
bless those who persecute you, bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice.
No, just 14.
Got it.
Okay, so we're asked to, God is asking us to bless them. You have to ask God to bless them. These people that are persecuting you. Now we saw that in the last passage that we had over there in Matthew, but he's saying it again here. This is love in action. Do not curse people. Bless them. Bless them. Okay, number 15 now.
15 is rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn.
How many people do that? Anybody do that? I learned to do that. When I hear that somebody has something good, I get so excited. It just seems like it's mine. Man, and some people tell me, you're happy about this than I am. Some people have to tell me that. But this is the truth. When I see somebody getting something, when I hear God giving them somebody a prophetic word, I have to contain myself because I'm so happy for them. And when I see them hurting, and when I see that they're being abused and misused, I hurt for them and I pray for them. Why? Because God says do this. Why? He wants somebody to be connected so that they would pray so that he could heal them. He said, I looked for one among them so that I could heal the land, but I found none. So when we get connected with people, when we do this, and God can talk to us about them, and he can mention their name, and we can pray, and he can do something without even telling us what's wrong. Sometimes I just get a person's name and I just go pray. He don't tell me what's wrong. He don't tell me the people's business. I just pray. And this is love in action. This is what we're supposed to do. You know, so God is looking for one among them. So we have to make ourselves be one among them so that he can use us. He will just give you a name and you just start praying. You say, well, Ellen, what am I going to pray? A simple prayer. Lord, let your kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven concerning this person. Anything that you know that they need, God, I pray for it right now. I bind up the devil away from anything that's trying to stop what you're trying to do right now. I agree with you about what you want to do for this person. That's all. Not a long drawn out, but just something simple. Okay, let's go to the next one. 16.
16, live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited.
Okay, this is real simple. Do not have favorite people. Treat everybody the same. I think this is real simple. That doesn't need any more explanation. 17.
17, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone.
Okay, so we talked about in the last habit 14, people are judging you. They're looking at you. So you do not let people judge your good for evil. If you mean good for people, let them see the good. Let them see the good. Do not repay anyone for evil. You know, because you might be the only God they see. And the devil is operating in them, and that spirit man in them will see the God in you, and that's what can make a difference. Okay, number 18.
18, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone.
Okay, well, I use this one a lot because I had to learn this one. Sometimes you have to apologize to people when they have done wrong and you know they're wrong. And you apologize because you know that this is how love operates. You know they're wrong. They don't know they're wrong. They think you're wrong. But when you apologize and they accept your apology, you have made peace. Sometimes people won't accept your apology. There's nothing you can do. You have obeyed God. And sometimes you will even tell them, I was wrong, even though you were not wrong, and they won't accept it. But that's on them. Now, it's not on you because you've done what God told you to do. And he see that. He knows that. So when it's possible, he said, make peace, because he knows that some people are just not going to be peaceful. He says, when it's possible, make peace. So you go ahead and apologize. I apologize, I was wrong. And you know they were wrong, but they don't know that they were wrong. And you know, when you do that, God will work with them. And we'll see that later near the end of this, because he's going to mention it later. He's going to mention it later. Verse 19.
Verse 19, do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord.
Okay, so it's not our job to do evil for evil. So this matches up with verse 17. You know, it's God wants to take care of this. It's his business. And so when we jump in and we try to repay people for what they did, evil things that they did, we get in God's way. That's a bad place to be. That's a bad place to be, in his way. Okay, so let's go on to number 20.
On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head.
Okay, and so this is where God is judging. Now, this is the one that's going to be fun. Let me read to you what the Oxford Dictionary calls enemy. Remember I said we were going to have, this was going to bless you. An enemy is a person who actively opposes or hostile to someone or something. Okay? And this word in the Greek is ethos. Ethos. It means someone who is hated, someone who's odious, someone who's hateful, someone who's hostile, someone who is opposing another. Guess who those people are? That's your husband. That's your wife. That's your child. That's your auntie. That's your uncle. Wow. These are the enemies because they're opposing you. Now, I'm not talking about simple disagreements. You know how people have disagreements, like they get mad because they want to squeeze the toothpaste in the middle and you want to squeeze it at the end. That's just a disagreement. Or people get mad because they want you to put the toilet paper where it rolls over and not under. That's just a disagreement. I'm talking about people who are opposing you, people who are cursing you physically, people who are doing things evil, and you know that they are evil. Those are your enemies because they're letting the devil use them to keep you in bondage. You got to be wise and love them. If your enemy's hungry, feed him. Back in the first passage here, it says, love your enemy. That was the first, love your enemy. That person that you're looking for down the street that's doing you wrong is your enemy, but the biggest one is the one that lives in your house. And that's the one that's tripping you up. That's the one that's tripping me up and having us in the wrong place. And they don't have to physically live with you. You can live by yourself. I've done that for a while. Not by myself now, but I have. But the ones that you least want to call your enemies are. And so we respond to them incorrectly because they are not showing the love that we think they ought to be showing to us. I mean, how dare you say that to me? What do you mean talking to me like that? How come you didn't remember what I did for you last week? Okay, so a lot of that I'm going to discuss next week. I wanted to do both of these together, but they're separate. They're separate. You know, you do all you can on your part, and then they do nothing on their part, but make your life miserable. How can you get it changed? By loving them, by giving them something to drink if they're thirsty. You know, one of the greatest things that we're going to talk about next week is, and we're almost done, is when people who love you, they think they love you because they don't know what love is. They do some heinous things. I talk to people all the time. Lots of people have the same issues. And then they come back 10 minutes later and act like they did nothing. They act like they did nothing and you're still burning. What? You coming here, you asking me for something to drink? You asking me for some ice water? You better go get that water yourself. Get out of my face. You know? So here it is. Here it is. This is the word of God. So we must not be an enemy to our family, even if they act like an enemy to us. We must not be. And so we can get the hot coals on their head so God can deal with them. But if we act like they do, we're working for ourselves. But if we do this, our love is working for us. And God put the hot coals on their head. Get them straightened out. He helped them and us. This is how we get it done. Get the hot coals on their head. Hey, that's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I wish I had you all to help me when I was going through this. Because I was by myself. I did a lot of crying, I'm telling you. I did a lot of painful crying. And I get on a lot of people's nerves about this. I really do. Because I try to help them grow up to a point where they can actually get the hot coals on the head of the person that's doing it. But until they grow up enough, they can't do it. They are not mature enough to do it. Okay, let's do number 21.
Number 21, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
Okay, so do not let evil make you return evil for evil. Now, most of us know what evil is. But, when we get angry and we get upset, we don't respond properly. But there's another things that we have to consider too. When we are broken and we're feeling rejected and we're feeling hurt and we're feeling abused and we're feeling misused, we still have to get the hot coals on the head of the person that's doing it. Because not doing that doesn't help us come out of our brokenness. We at least can get that much done. And if we don't do that, we get nothing done. We just keep suffering through the same old things. Because some people, they think that they can talk their way in or out of anything, and they keep trying. And some of them do, but it doesn't have anything to do with love. And some people think that they can do things to get in and out of anything, and some people can. We'll talk about that next week, but it doesn't have anything to do with love. Nothing. And so I just wanted to go over some of these with you so that you could understand practically what's happening and how we have been fooled and duped and tricked and lied to and deceived, thinking love was what it is not. Everybody okay? Everybody okay? All right, well, I'm done for tonight. Next week, we'll talk about the other one that we showed up first. Anybody have any comments? Did anybody learn anything tonight? Anybody? You are just looking puzzled. You're looking at me saying, Oh boy. I just wish I had all of you when I was going through this. I'd probably call you up and talk about folks. I know when I was working, I used to call up my sister and my brother. I talked to them 4 hours. They was in Chicago. I talk about folks for 4 hours because of what they did to me.
Yeah, you can do that.
I sure did. I sure did. And I'm just telling you, I didn't know any better, but I know now. And so I am turning, and it's a hard turn. And don't think that you can do this just because we learned it, but you are going to get tested and tried on it. It is going to take time. And don't think that you can tell somebody what love is and they'll receive it. They'll receive it. Today, I was talking to somebody today that wanted me to pray to help bring about something that God had told them, showed them that they was going to get. And I was trying to explain, God never said that. You will never get that from God. That's not how he thinks. And it took me at least 20 minutes to get this person to understand God doesn't break covenant. He keeps his word. You're not going to get God to do that. That's the devil and it's evil. Took me 20 minutes to get them to let me pray for what God would do. So people are not just going to jump out there and receive this. They're just not going to jump out there and receive it. But you don't give up. You don't quit. You know what it is and you understand it. Next week, we're going to talk about the things people do. I wish that I had a clinical psychologist to talk about that, but that would take 5 hours, I'm sure. But we will talk about what people do to convince people that they love them. We're going to talk about that next week. And it's going to be very interesting because this was interesting for me. This was interesting for me. Are you all sure you learned something tonight? And nobody has questions? Nobody has a comment? Nobody wants to know how to do something? Nobody want to call me when you get in trouble? Call me to help you out for trying to obey God and love people properly. This is a hard one. This is one that we really need to spend some time fellowshipping with. Okay, I'm going to assume.
Say,
Huh?
Lucy, I just
Yes.
wanted to say that I got confirmation and more clarity about why giving a gift is not love. Because, and what I got was, it is a matter of the heart, the motive behind what you're doing, because love is an action and not a feeling. So your emotions cannot be involved in that. And you can have a wrong motive as to why you are giving something to someone. So that was a confirmation, and it did help me on another level understand why no matter what you give to somebody, if your heart is not right towards them, then it is not an act of love.
That is so true. And I try to say this all the time, and I do say it all the time, and I get tested a lot with this, but there's not a person on the planet that I do not love. Not one person. Not one person. And we all have to make up in our minds that's what we want to do. And so because I declare that over my life, and because I say that, every now and then I get tested. I run into a person that I really have to love. You can't even tell people you love them if you don't mean it. Because there's an expectation of sacrifice. It's not a cliche. I think we should stop telling people that we love them if we're not doing these 14 habits. That's not love. Quit telling them. Because they have an expectation for us to do things that we're not going to do, not willing to do, not ready to do, and sometimes not able to do. Then God had to deal with me about that, because I used to tell everybody I loved them. He said, stop saying it. Stop saying that. Stop telling people that. And I did. I obeyed him. Because I used to tell everybody, love you, love you. It's cliche. That's not true. If you really don't love a person, don't say it. And it's okay not to say it. What's not okay is to say it and don't mean it. Okay, so Michelle, next time, what are we doing? We are doing, which one is that? Things people do to say I love you. Yes, things people do to say I love you will all fade away. Okay, you take it down. That's what we're doing next time. Let me pray. Our Father and our God, I thank you for everyone on the Zoom call tonight, God, and those that will watch it on Instagram, those that will watch it on Twitter and Facebook, those that were watching on YouTube. I thank you for each and every one, God, and I ask you to bless their lives as we learn how to love people the way you love, as we learn how to love you the way you love. And we just thank you right now for giving us confidence, for giving us understanding, for giving us boldness to step out and love the way you do, God. And we thank you, God, for comforting us and keeping us and blessing what we put our hands to as we go forward in taking care of your business, taking care of the planet, loving the people, loving you, showing people what you look like, what it looks like to be in relationship with God. And so we thank you right now. We praise you right now. We give you glory, God. And until we meet again, God, we thank you for the blessings, the greatest blessings that you can bestow upon us as we operate in love, because it is a seed that is planted. And we thank you, God, for the harvest that comes in addition to all of the benefits that come with love. We love and appreciate you, and we thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay.
Amen.
Amen. Nobody, the last chance to have a comment. Last chance to complain. Last chance to say I'm not ready yet. Okay. Nobody wants to speak up. All right. Okay, so we will see everybody next week. Next week is more challenging than this week because, like I said, we probably need some clinical help with the one next week, because we're going to talk about what people do to say I love you that has nothing to do with love, and that it will fade away. Okay, that's it. You are sure you got something tonight now? Everybody sure? Okay. Marlene, you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. All right, then. That's it for tonight. Thank you all for joining us on Lace. Love acquired can endure. Good night, everybody.
All right.